Welcome CDS aspirants. Today is the 23rd of April when we are solving this paper which was taken on the 21st of April 2024. My tutorial presents the answers for this question paper. Without any further delay, let's get right into it. We'll start. This is the English paper. We'll start with it. The first matching list. You'll see they were given words here and possible meanings on the other side. We have to match them. Now, alibi is a proven fact of being elsewhere. That means you have an alibi, it can prove that you were not at one place which was stated but at some other place. Attaché, it has to be something else, but here diplomatic support staff is the only option that matches with it because aperitif is a drink just before a meal and avant-garde means new and experimental. So we'll see where does D give us 2. So D needs to be 2, it will either be A or B, and A is 3 for sure, B is 4, so our correct option here is B. Let's look at the second one. Sui generis means nothing else like it. Facta non verba means deeds, not words, so B will be 4 in this. B is 4 and A is 3, B is 4, A is 3, A will be our answer here. C will be 1, mutatis mutandis is remaining same despite changes, and non sequitur, which means the conclusion not drawn from stated logic. Now these are phrases that have been borrowed from other languages, mostly Latin we can see here and a little bit of French, but again French also borrows from Latin. It's called etymology. Etymology is the study of the root words, where the word comes from, where did it first originate. This is one more section that now the CDS examination is becoming serious about. So this is something that you should focus on moving ahead as well. Alright, we got connoisseur. Connoisseur is an expert in taste matters. A has to be 4, one of these. Cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac means the end of the bag, the ass of the bag, which is the end of the bag, or a street which has a dead end. So a street with a closed end, 2 will be 3, D will be 3. So you got A 4, B 3, D is the answer. Let's see, C is 2. Dossier is a collection of documents or someone or something else. And debris is scattered remains. Yes, when a building demolishes. After that, what is left behind is called debris. We got déjà vu. So the answer here you must see is D. Now déjà vu. Déjà vu means feeling of having experienced the present. Faux pas is a tactless remark or act. So A needs to be 2, B needs to be 3. A is 2, B is 3 in the C 1, C is our correct option. Then C is 4, C en route. En route means during the course of the journey. Laissez-faire means policy of minimal governmental interference. Laissez-faire is a French phrase, if I'm not mistaken. It means to allow to do. Allow to do whatever they want. So minimal interference by the government is what laissez-faire means. Facade is the principal front of a building. A needs to be 1. Liaison is a diplomatic support staff. B needs to be 3. A is 1, B is 3. B will be our correct option. Maisonette are rooms with separate entrances in a building. So if there are rooms with separate entrances, that is called a maisonette. And a beret. Beret is a round, flattish cap. Beret is a cap which is worn to the side a bit. Pablo Picasso used to wear it. Many other French people wear it as well. French beret. I think it's a part of their military uniform as well. So the answer here would be beret around, flattish cap, B 2, A 1, B 3, A 1, B 3, C 4, and B 2. This will be our option here. Alright, now we have adaptation of borrowed words as well. Again, borrowed words are words that have been borrowed into English and now are used in the English language but belong to some other language actually. So we'll see what kind of words here. Aplomb comes from 2 words. Aplomb means like the line, like the plumbing line. Plumbing line is straight, absolutely straight and standing. It stands straight with pride. So the idea of pride comes from that. It's a French word which has been borrowed into English and now used in English for pride. So A is our answer here. Condign again comes from 2 words, con and dignus, dignus or something. It's a Latin phrase. Con comes from altogether, dignus means deserving. So here it is punishment appropriate to wrongdoing. Right? Punishment appropriate to wrongdoing. C is our answer. Incommunicado. There is another word like this, excommunicado. Excommunicado means someone who has been ostracized or exiled from a community. primarily a religious community of the Christian religion. But here it means not wanting to or be able to communicate. Incommunicado means not wanting to or able to communicate. There are other such words. If you want to know a few, there's coup d'etat. You can check out the meanings of these. I'm pretty sure if ever such statements show themselves again, these words would probably come in the examination. So coup d'etat is coup de grace, coup de mort, coup de mort. All of these have to do with attack. Coup d'etat is when the military attacks and overthrows the government. Coup de grace is the final blow. I think coup de mort is an attack by the military, a sudden attack by the military. All of these. Then there are words like vice versa. Vice versa means that exact opposite as well. For example, A loves B and vice versa. That means A loves B and B loves A, vice versa. Then we have viva voce as well. Viva, you must have given you a viva in your examinations where you are speaking out answers to questions that the interviewer asks. Viva voce, such words. When I do the crash course for CDS English, we will cover more such words that are borrowed into English and are commonly used. Now, some of these words are very particularly used in some niche places. For example, in law, there are words that are used only in law. Habeas corpus. There are many writs in law which have the Latin names. All of those words also must be learned and memorized by you if you're still preparing for the next exam as well. Alright, so gastronomy. Gastronomy has to do with food. Art and science of fine food and eating is what it is about. Gastroenterology is, I think, what the study of digestive system is. And the study of flatulence is the study of fart, which is flatology, I think. And study of cosmic gases and cosmic dust is, if I'm not mistaken, cosmic chemistry or something along those lines. But gastronomy is the art and science of fine food and eating. Expatriate is a resident outside country of citizenship. That is what an expatriate is. Expatriate is a person who is living outside the country of their citizenship. Now use of phrasal words, we get to. She was advised by her coach to get back to form. So you get back into shape or get back to form if she wanted to win the tournament. She said goodbye and tripped off along the road. That means she went away now. The team reported that they had pored over, P-O-R-E-D over, pored over the contract with tooth and comb before forwarding its recommendation. Pored over means to excessively and extensively research over a document. The boisterous crowd carried on, continued. Carried on means continued with its merrymaking even of its pouring rain. So carried on will be the correct option here. The goons that the unsuspected set upon. The goons set upon the unsuspected victims and the latter walked into the dark alley. Set upon means ekdam se hamla kiya. So they suddenly attacked and set upon the unsuspected victims. Now you have to put commonly used words and see whether they are being used correctly. So both of these statements have words which are often confused with each other, and we have to tell whether the use of each is correct in this or not. So you will see the use of each in this is reciprocated. Like both of them are used in an incorrect way. Especially should be here and especially should be here. Actually, they mean particularly both of them, but in terms of context, where do we use specially? We use specially when we are talking about some action or event. For example, what is specially noticeable about the pair is that, so some special, if some special notice is being given or something special about something is being stated, then we use the word specially, and especially is used for exceptions. Like especially on Sunday, if to highlight one particular thing or one particular part of something, we use especially. For example, lunch is served late in the office, especially on days when there is board meeting. So the E especially should have been here and especially should have been here. So both of these are incorrect. Both S1 and S2 are wrong. C is the correct option for 16. Now the matter was resolved amicably between the group, not between. Between is used for two, among is used for more than two. Here there are more than two, it should be among. Here there are two, it should have been between. Both of these are incorrect as well. C is the option here. Again, both S1 and S2 are wrong. Now we shall have to present ourselves. Shall is used for first person singular and plural, which is correct. And will is used for every other person. And third person is being used there, so this is correct. Both of them are correct. S1 and S2 are right. I have not seen her since a long time, not since a long time. I have not seen her for a long time. A long time is a period of time can be used for and not since. So the first one is incorrect. It has been a while since I saw her, that's a point of time. Here, since is correct. So S1 is wrong, S2 is right, B is the correct option here. The teacher inquired whether there are any problems with the question paper, this is correct. He asked whether she had some pets at home, not some. He's trying to ask whether she had any pets at home, if she had pets at home or not. That is, I think, what the question means here. So he asked her whether she had any pets at home. Both of them would have any. So S1 is right, S2 is wrong. A should be the correct option here. Now we move on to antonyms. Antonyms are opposites. So equanimity. Equanimity means peace, tranquility, all of that. Agitation is the correct option here. B is the right answer. He had been vehement in opposing the idea. Vehement is ardent, fervent, impassioned. All of that. Vehement means very vigorously, with a lot of energy. Subdued is the exact opposite here. D is our correct answer. He indulges in nefarious activities of flagitious, execrable. All of these are bad things. Flagitious got to do with criminal, execrable has to do with not likable, abominable, or nefarious. All of these. Admirable is the exact opposite. So C is the correct option here. When he was born, his family was indigent. Indigent means very poor. So impecunious and ruined pretty much mean the same thing. Pretentious means that they're pretending to be rich, but that is not the exact opposite. Affluent is the exact opposite here, because affluent means to be rich and prosperous. All of us are living in turbulent times. Turbulent is the exact opposite of tranquility or equanimity. This was written here. Equanimity, tranquility, exact opposite. Turbulence, tranquil is the answer or the antonym here. Obstreperous also means unable to be controlled. Capricious means, again, changing very suddenly, a change of mood or a change of weather very suddenly. That is what capricious is. And desolate means lonely, not inhabited. Now we are filling the blanks. I shall not be going to the theatre if it snows. So if it snows, I shall not be going to the theatre. One will be simple future and one will be simple present. If it snows, C is the correct option here. Dash, no fewer than 100 passengers. Again, few is used for countable. Passengers are countable. So we say no fewer than 100 passengers were killed in the recent train accident. Each of these paintings, each is considered to be a singular distributive pronoun here. That is why each of these paintings, it will have a singular verb which is. Each of these paintings is made by a famous painter. This is an area of extremely dense population. A is the correct option here. Reading ability in young children is affected by speech disorders. Affected is the verb, is affected is the correct option. D is the correct option here. She has faced almost dash difficulty, almost insurmountable. Insurmountable means something that cannot be defeated, something that cannot be overcome. So it was almost insurmountable, means it was almost as if she couldn't overcome that difficulty, but she faced arranging the funds for the event, but she was able to do it. So she has faced almost insurmountable difficulty arranging the funds for the event. B will be the correct option here. Our school building is dash dilapidated, visibly dilapidated. Dilapidated means in a bad condition, that the paint is coming off perhaps, and you can see the plaster or the stone, the bricks that it is made up of. So visibly dilapidated, visibly means it's very visible that it is old and dilapidated. Ranikhet is a place of remarkable scenic beauty. Scenic is the adverb here. Scenic beauty. Scene, scenery, both of them are nouns. Scenically is an adverb. So adjective, scenic is the adjective, and we need an adjective here because beauty is a noun. Remarkably scenic beauty. Scenic is the correct option here. The criminal on the run managed to dash, evade. Evade capture by the police officer. Evade means not get caught. So I am dash on the ambitious project learning one new language every year. I am embarking. I am embarking on the ambitious project. Embarking means I am starting this work. I am embarking upon a journey. I am embarking on the ambitious project. Idioms and phrases. Walking on eggshells means to be careful not to offend or upset others. So you are walking on eggshells. A is the correct option here. Feather your own nest is to make money for oneself by way of dishonest means. That means whatever it takes, sam, dam, dand, bhed, you are earning money for yourself. Neither fish nor fowl means difficult to describe or classify. A is the correct option here. Elephant in the room is the obvious problem that is being avoided. C is the correct option here. The ship has sailed means the opportunity has passed. C is the correct option here. Now we're moving on to synonyms. Winning the World Cup was the most exhilarating moment for the Indian cricket team. Exhilarating is thrilling. Synonym, we're looking for common words, similar words. Thrilling is the similar word. Justice prevailed and the murderer was decapitated. Decapitated means beheaded. Sir, Kamsejda. The hotel room had dingy walls. Dingy means very dark and dirty and squalid. So dirty, dark and dirty is the best option here. Keshav planned the event with fastidious care. Fastidious means very carefully, with a lot of details. So taking care of all the details, very pedantic in his care. So meticulous is the best option here. Her left leg was paralyzed due to debilitating disease. Debilitating is crippling. That means it left her a cripple. It left her incapable of using her body properly. Alright, we've got another section here which was new for the CDS aspirants over the past few years. correlating sentences. There was one sentence, another sentence, and both of them had a relation between them, and the relations were expounded in the options, and we had to figure out which one of them was the most appropriate for the sentences given. Civics classes focus on citizenship and governance. The subject develops concepts that enable the leader to apply knowledge about government to the state of the idea of participative citizenship. So we see they talk about civics first, what it is, and then they expound upon it. They expand upon it. See, expands the first. So A is the correct option here. China has made rapid economic strides at the cost of democracy. India has followed a path towards rapid economic growth, but by abiding by the norms of a democratic policy. So both of these are giving a stark contrast to each other. They both have had rapid economic strides, rapid economic growth, but one without democracy and one with democracy. Offers a contrast to the first. C is the correct option here. The concept of right or wrong needs to be determined on the basis of principles. And when comes to matters related to the field of human rights, position should be based only on principles. The first one is establishing a truth, and the second one is deriving an axiom or deriving some fact from that truth, that if this is true, then this should also be the case. For example, we are saying that the concept of right or wrong needs to be determined on the basis of principles. So we need to have some principles, and on the basis of those principles, we need to determine what is right or what is wrong. Now, when it comes to matters related to the field of human rights, now when you talk about human rights, the right to live, the right to property, the right to free speech, etc., then position should be based solely on principles. Again, as we said, right and wrong determined through principles. So human rights should also be based on principles. So we'll see, develops an axiom based on the first. B is the correct option here. The concept of ahimsa was adopted by Gandhiji after he was introduced to it by Tolstoy. The latter first read about it in the German translation of Tirukural, the great moral treatise in Tamil. Much in the same way that Gandhi was influenced by Tolstoy in the United States of America, Martin Luther King Jr. shaped his civil rights movement based on Gandhian principle. So basically, what was Tolstoy was inspired by a Tamil text. Tolstoy then inspired Gandhi, and Gandhi then inspired Martin Luther King Jr., who fought for civil rights in the US. So here, see, provides an analogy for the first. And the second sentence is providing an analogy for the first. We talk about the second sentence again and again. Yes. So the second sentence, you have to very carefully read this first part as well. The second sentence provides an analogy for the first, and simple analogy. Analogy means comparing two different events by showing similarities between them. So we are showing similarities that Gandhi was inspired by Tolstoy, and here similarly Martin Luther King was inspired by Gandhi. So now next. The best ever cricket captain India has ever had is XYZ. As captain, XYZ has won considerably more matches for India than any other captain. So that is why he is the best captain, because he has won considerably more matches than any other Indian captain. So the second sentence becomes the premise for the first. Now because he has won more matches than any other Indian captain, that is why the captain is the best that India has ever had. So it's the premise for the first. B is the correct option here. Use the pair words. Alright, compliment and compliment. Compliment is to praise. Let's see, where can we see compliment is praise? There's only one option C. Compliment means to praise, and compliment means to blend well with. So complementary angles here, compliment means to blend well with. Actually, compliment can also mean to enhance another thing, like something can be used to enhance something else. That is also a complementary. Compliment means to praise. That is why C is the correct option here, the best option. Deify and defy. Deify is to praise like God, and defy is to oppose. So you see, deify means to confer upon one the status of God, and defy means to oppose. A is the correct option here. Stationary and stationary. This stationary is the pencil and the pen that we write with. This stationary is stationary opposite of dynamic or movement, motion. Stationary means not moving. So here stationary means writing office material, and stationary means immobile. So C, 53rd, C is the correct option here. Complacent and complacent. Complacent is overconfident. Complacent is obedient, very obedient. So you'll see, complacent means eager to please, and complacent means overconfident. D is the correct option here. Inquiry, both of them pretty much mean the same thing, but just inquiry is used for official purposes where there is an investigation, and inquiry is just normal questioning about something. So inquiry means to seek information, inquiry means to investigate. A is the correct option here. Masterful and masterly both have to do with skill and leadership. So let's see. Imperious has got nothing to do with it. Imperious means to be boastful and pride and arrogant. It has got nothing to do with that. Masterful stroke, like a leader, like a masterful quality, like a leader-like quality, and a masterly stroke is skillful. So C, masterful means leader-like, and masterful means skillful is the correct option here. Border and border. Border and border. So border is a day boarder. You must know about boarding, day scholar and boarding. Boarders in schools, hostlers as we call them. So you must understand from that border means food and lodge residence, and then border everybody knows it means the boundary. So A is the correct option here. Concurrent and consecutive. Concurrent means occurring at the same time. Consecutive means occurring one after the other. A is the correct option here. C means occurring at the same time, and consecutive means occurring one after the other. Epitaph and epithet. Epitaph is the word written on a tombstone, and epithet means a phrase expressing an attribute. For example, you can say dirty old men. So dirty and old are epithets that are usually given to poor men of a particular strata. So epithet is any attribute that is commonly given to a particular group of people. That is the epithet that belongs to them. So epitaph and epithet. Epitaph means words written on a tombstone, and epithet means a phrase expressing an attribute. Tombstone is कब्र के पास जो ऊपर पत्थर लगा होता है. That is what a tombstone is. Discomfort and discomfort. Discomfort is unease. It's a noun. Discomfort is a verb which means to make embarrassed, to embarrass someone. So B, discomfort means unease, and discomfort means to embarrass. B is the correct option here. Ordering of the verbs in a sentence. Let's get to it. So the fundamentals of the government, the Constitution lays down certain directive principles of state policy. Though not justiciable, are fundamental. So R, P, Q, S. C is the correct option here. The Constitution lays down certain directive principles of state policy, which, though not justiciable, are fundamental to the governance of the country, and it is the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. R, P, Q, S. Again, we'll see what are the obvious pairs. So the geopolitical and geoeconomic landscape is singular in a multipolar world is dynamic. Is dynamic, it has to be because it's a singular, it has to have is, it cannot have are. The geopolitical and geoeconomic landscape are involving, not correct because landscape is singular here. So QS will be together. QS are together only in B. Let's see. The geopolitical and geoeconomic landscape in a multipolar system is dynamic, where aspects related to application of military force are evolving rapidly. So QSRP is the correct option here. International security, taking into account its national security interests and priorities, India had participated actively in multilateral forums that are development politics and all right. So obvious pairs you will see relating to disarmament, non-proliferation, and international security. RP is an obvious pair, so it comes in B and in D. Let's see which one is correct. Let's start with Q. India has participated actively in multilateral forums relating to yes. So Q, it starts with Q. P, interest in priorities in the international security arena. So QRPSD is the correct option here. 63rd D is the correct option here. QRPS. 64. Linked to the formal education system through a close coordination with children, age, youth, service, etc. Alright, so we'll see that through directly with the, none of these could be the final or the last part of the sentence. It has to end with S. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, so it will either be B or C. Let's see. Does it start with R, children in the age group, or directly? It could be a close coordination with the, maybe, let's see. Children in the age group of 5 to 8 years are directly linked to the formal education system through a close coordination with the, yes. So R, P, Q, S makes sense. A close coordination with the children in the age group of 5 to 8 years are directly linked to the formal education system through close coordination with the children. No. Now a close coordination with the children are directly, no. It has to be is directly. The children in the age group of 5 to 8 years are directly. R should be the beginning. R, P, Q, S with the Sarva Shiksha. R, P, Q, S, C is the correct option here. Our spiritual heritage and has become part of that is yoga is being practiced as part of healthy lifestyle. So SR, we'll start with SR, SR, and has become part of our SRQP. So D, very good. SRQP, D is the correct option here. Who has been troubling better than the one who knows the trouble? Or she who has been in trouble would know the trouble better than the one who has been troubling. SRQP seems to be the correct option here. C is the best option here. C who has been in trouble. She who has been in trouble would know the trouble better than the one who has been troubling. All that is all right. The fact that the word epithet. So epithet is incorrect here. This should have been epigram. So the serious examination made a mistake. Epithet is just an attribute, a word, an adjective which is used as a common attribute for groups. Epigram is a pithy saying, a saying like an adage, something that is used, जिसको हम लोग कहावत कहते हैं हिंदी में. All that glitters is not gold. सारी चमकने वाली चीजें एक सोना नहीं होती हैं. ये कहावत है. Epigram कहते हैं उसको. Epithet नहीं कहते हैं. It's an epigram. Alright. So the fact that the old epigram, all that glitters is not gold, is still valid. The speaker reiterated. So QSPR. QSPR is the best option here. See, the speaker reiterated before the audience. The fact that the old epigram, all that glitters is not gold, is still valid. QSPR. SP has to be together. The fact the old epithet, all that it is not gold. The speaker reiterated to the audience is incorrect. SP B is the only option that makes sense. Let's move ahead. A decade sooner than alright. Population. The second scenario suggested R. To start with R. The second scenario suggested that the population will be RQ. B is the correct option here. The second scenario suggested that the population will peak at 8.5 billion by 2040, a decade sooner than 2050. RQSP. Alright, peace is always the only alternative, not only during war and turbulent times. RQPS. RQPS. C is the correct option here. RQPS. Peace is always the only alternative, not only during war and turbulent times, but also during peaceful times. Generations of okay. Population bomb related narratives mobilized many policies and behaviors. RQ that shaped the lives of generations of Indian women. RQSP. RQSP. A is the correct option here. Mobilized generations of Indian women that shaped the lives of many policies and behaviors. No. It did not mobilize population bomb related narratives, did not mobilize generations of Indian women, it mobilized policies and behaviors. And that shaped the lives of generations of Indian women. RQSP. Ordering of sentences now. Alright, the Attorney General of India is appointed by the President of India. Alright, so first we will talk about the Attorney General of India and we will see what, and the last sentence, he shall receive such remuneration as the President may determine. Remuneration is compensation, which is money given for your work. Honorarium, not an honorarium, but remuneration, which is called remuneration, which can also be called a salary, but yeah, in terms of an added title that you are given. The Attorney General of India is appointed by the President of India. Now, after that, we will move on to R. Any person qualified to be a judge of the Supreme Court can be appointed by the courts. Then we move to S and then to P. So, RSPQ. RSPQ. C will be the correct option. The correct option here. SR. RSPQ. Yes, RSPQ. First of all, we talk about any person who is qualified to be a judge of the Supreme Court and appointed. So, first we talk about the appointment, then we talk about who can be appointed, then we talk about the duties, then we talk about what they can do, what the rights that they have in the performance of the duties. Then we talk about the fact that they are holding the office at the pleasure of the President for as long as the President wants, and that he shall receive the remuneration as the President may determine. So, both of those things talk about President after that. Alright. So again, COVID-19 was a health catastrophe that caused great distress because the movement, it triggered the movement of more than 7 million people through lockdown and post-lockdown periods. What triggered? Undertook the Vande Bharat mission. The Vande Bharat mission triggered the movement. So it would end with P for sure. So it would either be SQRP or QRSP. Now let's see. Is it SQRP? During the pandemic, India established credentials at the pharmacy of the world by supplying medicines and equipment to over 150 countries. Alright. SQ made India vaccines into over 90 countries on a commercial and grant basis. Alright. India justified its credentials as a global HADR player deploying rapid response teams for these. Yes, very good. It justified its credentials. First of all, it re-established its credentials. Then we talk about and equipment over. We talk about vaccines. Re-establishing its credentials. After that, it sends vaccines. Made India vaccines we sent to over 90 countries on a commercial and grant basis. Pharmacy of the world by supplying medicines and equipment. Yes, then we talk about vaccines particularly. Then India justified its credentials as a global HADR, and then we end with P. SQRP. A is the correct option here. Yes, very good. During the pandemic, India restarted. That is how we start. We start with S, end with P. Only one option, A. A is the correct option here. The New Development Bank (NDB) has been instituted with a vision to support foster infrastructure and sustainable initiatives in emerging economies. India is one of the largest borrowers of the bank. All right, so we talk about the NDB, the New Development Bank by the BRICS. So the founding members of the NDB, Brazil, Russia. Let's start with the founding members, obviously, because that is what we talk about once we talk about NDB. We will start with R. R has been started with only in the D option. So RSQP, let's just put in, make sure. The founding members of NDB, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, $1 billion USD initial contribution. Again, 4 other founding members, yes, equal share means 20%. Purpose of the bank, and then India is up. Makes sense. RSQP. D is the correct option here. Ayurveda literally means science of life. It is about the interrelationship between these aspects. These aspects, which aspects? Let's see which aspects. Social aspects of human beings. Q has to end with Q. Only one ends with Q. Let's see PRSQ. So Ayurveda is born on various Vedic hymns rooted in fundamental philosophy of life, disease, all right. P R, the Charak Samhita and the Sushruta Samhita, which developed around 2500 BC, a main series of Ayurveda. According to Ayurveda, health care is prerequisite for achieving goals of life and dharma, arth, kama, and moksha. Then Ayurveda takes an integrated view of the physical, mental, spiritual, and social aspects of human being. It is all the international interrelationship between these aspects. Very good. So PRSQA is the correct option here. The National Education Policy 2020 is an important policy in education. The policy was formulated through consultation. Alright, an important policy. Let's see. It has come after 34 years of national policy in education 1986. Q has to start with Q. What is starting with Q? Only one is starting with Q. B. QSPR. Let's see Q. It aims to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and global knowledge superpower, making both school and college education more flexible. Fair enough. To fulfill its objective, it seeks to bring, alright, to fulfill these objectives, it seeks to bring whatever it does. The policy also lays emphasis on bringing out the unique capabilities of each student, also lays all that. So it makes sense. We can start with QSPR. The policy was formulated in consultation. QSPR. B is the correct option here. S1 with 6 continents are the most important cash crops in India. Then we're going to talk about supporting the cotton industry. Cotton industry is being supported because 508 million cotton farmers are there. So this should precede S6. It should end with P. QSRP or RQSP. Let's see which one will it start with. The country account, India's contribution. Yes. India's contribution to cotton production. Important global player. Cotton production comes from around 120. The country accounts for around 25. R. It should start with R. RQSP. Makes sense. The country accounts for around RQSP. Yes. The country accounts for around 25% of the total global fiber production. India's contribution to cotton production comes from around 126 lakh hectares. Whatever it is producing, it comes from 38% of the world area. Raw material consumption of India, proportion of cotton is around 60%, because cotton sustains a livelihood of around 508 million cotton farmers, 40 million engaged in related activities such as cotton processing and trade. To support the cotton industry, the government of India regularly allows minimum support by 2 basic groups, which is medium staple and low staple. So because there are so many people involved in the work around cotton, that is why India supports, the government supports that. So R, Q, S, P. D is the correct option here. One of the features of the humanist culture in India, Italy, was lacking of the control of religion over human life. There was also a concern of striking good manners. We'll see there are obvious, if there are any obvious pairs, good manners, we'll see. Though they were not religious, so Francesco Barbaro was a humanist from Venice. He wrote a pamphlet defending acquisition of virtue. SQ needs to be together, SQ is together, only in C. Let's put that option and see if it works. PSQR. Though they were not irreligious, Italians were strongly attracted to material wealth, power, and glory. Francesco Barbaro was a humanist from Venice. He wrote a pamphlet defending acquisition of wealth and virtue. In On Pleasure, Lorenzo Valla, another humanist, criticized the Christian injunction against pleasure. There was also concern at this time with good manners. PSQR. C is the correct option here. Rural Postal Life Insurance was started in 1995. Therefore, various schemes of PLI and RPLI are very popular amongst eligible clients. It also aims to spread all right. So, Rural Postal Life Insurance, why? However, PLI and RPLI continue to offer life insurance cover at lower premium rate and higher bonus. Therefore, various schemes of PLI and RPLI are very popular among eligible. So, it should end with Q. It should end with Q. What ends with Q? Either C or D. Before Q, S or P. Let's see S. With the liberalization of the insurance sector, postal life insurance, rural postal life insurance are operating in a very competitive market. However, yes, S, it should come before Q. So SQ, RPSQ, C is the correct option here. Let's put it there. The prime objective of the scheme, yes, the prime objective, we're talking about the scheme first, then we're talking about its prime objective, then we move on to another aim, then we talk about its struggle, then what it is doing, and then the result of it. So RPSQ. Exactly. RPSQ C is the correct option here. Digital lock is a key initiative. These legacy documents can be electronically signed. These legacy documents. Which legacy documents? Let's talk about legacy documents. Legacy documents. Citizens can also upload scanned copies of the legacy documents in their account. So R, it should end with R. There's only one option ending with R. PSQR. Targeted at the idea of paperless governance, digital lock as a platform of insurance for issuance and verification documents in a digital way. Indian residents who sign up for a DigiLocker accounts get a dedicated cloud storage space. Organizations that are registered with DigiLocker can push electronic copies of documents directly to citizens' lockers. We have already talked about citizens' lockers. Then citizens can also upload scanned copy of the legacy documents in accounts. And then we're talking about the legacy documents in the last sentence. So PSQR is the correct option here. Nano Mission program was initiated in 2007. Alright. The Nano Mission is likely to pave the path. No, this is an umbrella program. So first we tell what the Nano Mission is. It's to start with R. Starts with R, RPQS. Only one option starts with R. Let's see if it fits. RPQS. This is an umbrella program which promotes basic research and focuses on nanotechnology adaptation and transfer to industry for use of masses. The Nano Mission is likely to pave the path for India's dominance in cutting edge science. Its goal is to foster, promote, and develop all aspects of nanoscience and technology. Yes. The support under this extends to create RPQS. And the efforts of this mission are evident through India's global ranking system. Yes, the support under this extends to create RPQS. C is the correct option here. RPQS. C is the correct option here. Prepositions and determinants. I don't like working at night. B is the correct option here. I'll see you in the morning. D is the correct option here. There is a mark on the wall. A is the correct option here. Shalini usually goes to work by bus. B is the correct option here. She has always been very polite to me. C is the correct option here. I am fed up with you. D is the correct option here. We had a discussion about the project. C is the correct option here. She is capable of winning the race. C is the correct option here. Of winning the race. C is the correct option here. His first novel has been translated into many languages. A is the correct option here. We met a very nice family during our holiday. C is the correct option here. We'll spot errors now. During this session, many companies were compelled to decrease their workforce. No error here. D is the correct option here. The politicians parted ways due towards ideological differences. No, due to ideological differences. So C is the correct option here. The murder was too abominable to describe, not to describe, to describe. So D is the correct option. C is the correct option here. Due to. C is the correct option here. D is the correct option here. Each new word in this book has each. Again, you remember each as a distributive adjective or a determiner is treated as a singular. Thus, we will use the singular verb has. The news regarding the earthquake survivors is very disturbing because the news is a singular. These equipment cannot ever be used as a plural. It has to be used as a singular equipment. The word would always be the same. A is the correct option here. Pratik doesn't look well today, doesn't he? This is the correct option here because it should be does he. He does not look well today, does he? So for the question tags, we use the negative of the given auxiliary. So the auxiliary is in negative, we will make the negative of negative, which becomes the positive. So does. And then we use the pronoun for the subject. So he. Does he. Pratik doesn't look well today, does he? Does he will be the correct way of writing it. So C is the correct option here. I was one of the most eloquent speeches. It was one of the most eloquent speeches. You remember, superlative always has the most eloquent speeches delivered by Swami Vivekananda. So B is the correct option here. He suffered from fever when he was interviewed. He suffered from a fever when he was interviewed for the job. So he suffered from a fever when he was interviewed. See, interviews का लिया गया, उसको बेचारे को fever आ गया. He suffered from a fever when he was interviewed for the job. इतना ज़्यादा stress हो गया उसको, interview के चक्कर में fever आ गया बेचारे को. He suffered from a fever. She forced herself to eat. No error here. B is the correct option. Word classes. Now this we have to put the part of speech. We have to identify the part of speech. Much better, obviously. Comparative, adjective. The story was on in all the dailies. The has an article before it. Has to be a noun. Then here, smoking is injurious to health. Smoking, ing from the verb used as a subject. That means used as a noun, which is a gerund. So what made you choose the one over one rather than the other? What made you choose the one rather than the other? One here is acting as a pronoun, not a number. We are not talking about 1, 2, 3, 4. We are talking about the one, that particular thing. So that one is used in the stead of the noun, whichever noun is being talked about. Hence it is a pronoun. There is still some water in the bottle. Some is a determiner, a quantifier, an adjective of quantity. But again, a subsection under the adjectives, a determiner. Today we have won the match. Today is an interjection. Having finished the work, having is a participle. Together, having finished, become the perfect participle. Any ed form, the third form, the V3 form of the verb, VING plus V3, but VING only having. Having plus V3 form of the verb starting at the starting of the sentence is a perfect participle. So just having, marking having, it is a participle. Alright. My teacher always moves around in her class while teaching, so adverbs. Moves where? Moves around. Now it is not a preposition because it is being followed by another preposition right after it. If it said, my teacher always moves around the classroom, then around would have been a preposition. The cantankerous men. The cantankerous is modifying men, hence it has to be an adjective. This is an adjective of quality, hence an adjective, not a determiner. India is revered as the fountainhead. Fountainhead means some place where new ideas originate. The place where new things come from. So India is revered. Revered means it's respected as the fountainhead of democracy in the world today. Fountainhead here becomes a noun because the fountainhead, the is followed by a word and not another noun. Hence, our fountainhead is the noun. Alright, now we're moving on to passages. Passages, we already said, always read the question first and then get into the passage to get an idea of what they're trying to say. The tragedy of our times. Now, what is the tragedy of our times? You have to figure out what must the writers learn again. So, he's talking about writers, the author must be talking about writers. The writer's workshop should be filled with. They talk about the writer's workshop somewhere, and according to the author, the end of man is untenable because why is end of man untenable? The word puny means, what is the word puny means? Actually, it means tiny itself, but let's see if in the paragraph it means something else, but it can't because brave, daring, doomed. Puny means tiny, but the word puny in the paragraph might mean something. It might mean doomed. Let's see what it does. So we'll read the passage now. Our tragedy today is a general and universal physical fear so long sustained by now that we can even bear it. So our tragedy today is a general universal physical fear so long sustained by now that we can even bear it. It has been with us so long that now we can bear it. So let's see. Our tragedy of our times is we have forgotten the problems of the human heart. We have learned to bear general and universal physical fear. Maybe. There are no longer problems of the spirit. There is only the question, when will I be blown up? Because of this, the young man or woman writing today has forgotten the problems of the human heart. In conflict with itself, which alone can make good writing because only that is worth writing about. Worth the agony and the sweat. He must learn them again. What must he learn again? He must learn the problems of the human heart again. So we know the answer for this for sure, that the problems of a heart in conflict with itself is what the writers must learn again. So B is the correct option for 112th year. Alright. He must learn them again. He must teach himself the basis of all things is to be afraid and teaching himself that, forget it forever, leaving no room in his workshop for anything but the old verities and truths of the heart. So we see workshop, we talk about the writer's workshop. There should be left no room in it except for old verities and truths of the heart. Verities and truths of the heart means truths, universal truths. Truths of the heart, the old universal truths that we any. So the writer's workshop should be filled with universal truths. C is the correct option here for 113. Which any story is ephemeral and doomed. Like in which? All of love and honor and pity and pride and compassion and sacrifice. Until he does so, he labors under a curse. He writes not of love but of lust, of defeats in which nobody loses anything of value, of victories without hope, and worst of all, without pity or compassion. His griefs grieve on no universal bones, leaving no scars. He writes not of the heart but of the glands. Until he relearns these things, he will write as though he stood among and was the end of man. I decline to accept the end of man. It is easy enough to say that man is immortal simply because he will endure. That when the last ding-dong of doom is clanged and faded from the last worthless rock, hanging timeless in the last red and dying evenings, that even then there will still be one more sound, that of his puny, inexhaustible voice, still talking. I refuse to accept this. I believe man will not merely endure, he will prevail. He is immortal, not because he alone among creatures has an inexhaustible voice, but because he has a soul, a spirit capable of compassion and sacrifice. So we see here now that according to the author, every human is untenable because of his spirit, not of his soul, not because of his endurance, not because of his inexhaustible voice, not because of his mortal life, but because of his spirit, which is born of his soul. See? He is immortal not because he alone among creatures and endurance, but because he has a soul, a spirit capable of compassion and sacrifice. So we got one more answer left. Puny means tiny. See, puny voice. That of his puny, inexhaustible voice. Puny means tiny. And one more question we have remaining. The tragedy of our time. So what is the tragedy of our time? The tragedy of our time seems that we have forgotten the problems of the human heart. There are no longer problems of the spirits. The tragedy is a general. Our tragedy today is what? A general and universal physical fear. A general and universal physical fear. Which physical fear? And it has been so long sustained by now that we can even bear it. So we have learned to bear general and universal physical fear. Is that a tragedy? Is that the tragedy of our life? I want you to tell me in the comment section, what do you think is the tragedy of life? Is it that we have forgotten the problem of the human heart, or is it that we have learned to bear general and universal physical fear? Let's see which amongst you goes for which option out of these. Alright, next passage. Let's again read the questions first. People do not understand the nature of ramifications of educational change because ramification means effects or consequences. People would accept an innovation and understanding if, alright, so we're talking about education and change, and they will accept innovation and understanding if whatever. What is the caution the author sounds with regard to objective reality we are talking about here? Which two words the passage mean the opposite of the word whole? Whole means ramification doesn't mean whole. Program conception, program doesn't. Components and dimensions is the only thing that means whole. Let's see if it is in the paragraph as well. Components and dimensions. Which of the following sums up the idea of the author? Let's see what the author is trying to say in the paragraph, and then we'll figure it out. So people do not understand the nature or ramification of most educational changes. The first one was people do not understand the nature or ramification of educational changes because why? Let's see why. They become involved in change voluntarily or involuntarily, and in either case experience ambivalence about its meaning, form, and consequence. Alright, I have implied that there are a number of things at stake, changing goals, skills, philosophy, belief, behavior, etc. Subjectively, these different aspects are experienced in a diffuse, incoherent manner. Change often is not conceived of as being multidimensional. Not conceived of as being multidimensional. That is why it is difficult to completely comprehend change, because ambivalence about its meaning, because there is ambivalence about its meaning, form, and consequences. And we do not say change conceived as being a multidimensional thing. So they do not understand the multidimensional character of change. Yes. They see certainly mentioned. Yes. They do not understand the multidimensional character of change. That is why people do not understand the nature or ramifications of educational change. So for 116A is the correct answer. The correct answer. 117 people would accept an innovation with understanding if. Let's see, just finish quickly. I have implied that there are a number of things at stake, changes, objectively it is possible to clarify the meaning of an educational change by identifying and describing its separate dimensions. So if separate dimensions are, people would accept an understanding if there is clarity regarding its aspects. Exactly so, B is the correct option here. Yes. There is a clarity regarding its aspects. So all the aspects if are clear, then they will probably support change. Describing several dimensions. Ignorance of these dimensions explains a number of interesting phenomena in the field of education changes. For example, why some people accept an innovation they do not understand, why some aspects of the change are implemented and others do not, why strategies for change neglect certain essential components. Alright, the concept of objective reality is tricky. Now we are talking about objective reality. What was the question? What is the caution your author sounds with regard to objective reality? Let's see. Reality is always defined by individuals and groups, but individuals and groups interact to produce social phenomena, all like constitutions, laws, policies, education, change programs, etc., which exist outside any given individual. Yes, there is also the danger that the objective reality is only the reflection of the producers of change and thus simply a glorified version of the subjective conceptions. Yes, we can reduce this problem by following the factors of posing double question. What is the existing conception of reality on a given issue? Followed by says so. So they're saying that though reality is understood or agreed upon by a group of people, but still every person has their own objective reality as well, and maybe the most influential person of the group has influenced the subjective or the collective understanding of reality. Let's see. So objective reality is a collective reality which may have many problems. Objective reality may be influenced by subjective thinking and considerations. Yes. Objective reality may be influenced by subjective thinking and considerations. Objective reality is collective influence of all people, it is, but that is not a caution. Objective considerations are part of the subjective reality, that they are interrelated, not a caution. The caution is this. The caution is this. That the objective reality may be influenced by subjective thinking and consideration. That objective reality which we are considering to be true, it might not be true for everyone. It might just be some person's truth that has been influenced upon us through certain means. Which two words in the passage mean the opposite word? Whole, components and dimensions. Both of them were there. I see components here and I see dimensions there. So both of the words are there, and it means the opposite of whole, the components and dimensions. Which of the following sums up the idea of the author? Let's see. Change is subjective and warrants subjectivity from conceptualization to implementation. Yes. Subjectivity cannot be ruled out by describing the main dimensions of change. But that is not the main idea, right? Subjectivity cannot be ruled out by describing the main dimensions. It can be actually. It is difficult to conceptualize the change in satisfy logic. No. Change has to be conceptualized like in main dimensions, then subjectivity. Yes. This change has to be conceptualized collectively in its many dimensions and dealt with objectively. Yes, not subjectively. Change is subjective and what is subjectivity? Both of these again, A and D. Let's see what most of the people agree with. Change is subjective and warrants objectivity from conceptualization to implementation. The change is subjective. Change is subjective. But that again, I don't think that is the main idea. The main idea the author trying to say is that change has to be conceptualized collectively in its many dimensions and dealt with objectively. That we have to conceptualize it subjectively in its many dimensions and have to deal with it objectively. How? By asking these double questions. But again, what is the existing conception of reality on a given issue, and followed quickly by the words for whom. That's that for today. Please calculate your scores and tell me how much do you score in your CDS examination down in the comment section. Thank you so much for joining in. Until next time, I'll see you again.